going to be reading a book to you about Martin Luther King Jr. And the name of the book is Martin's Big Words. Martin's Big Words. Martin Luther King Jr. was more than a freedom fighter. He was an inspiration. My admiration for Martin Luther King's speaking skills encouraged me to strive towards excellence in relation to developing my speaking skills. I took on Martin Luther King as something like a remote mentor. You can learn from others' experience and be guided by their wisdom by picking up a book. So I'm going to encourage you to continue to read as you grow and develop, because all great leaders are readers. All right. Everywhere in Martin's hometown, he saw the signs, white only. His mother said these signs were in all southern cities and towns in the United States. Every time Martin read the words, he felt bad until he remembered what his mother told him. Turn the page. In church, Martin sang hymns. He read from the Bible. He listened to his father preach. These words made him feel good. Turn the page. Martin grew up. He became a minister like his father, and he used the big words he had heard as a child from his parents and from the Bible. Turn the page. He studied the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. He learned how the Indian nation won freedom without ever firing a gun. Martin said love when others said hate. He said together when others said separate. He said peace when others said war. Turn the page. In 1955, on a cold December day in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks was coming home from work. A white man told her to get up from her seat on the bus so he could sit. She said no and was arrested. Montgomery's black citizens learned of her arrest. It made them very angry. They decided not to ride the buses until they could sit anywhere they wanted. Turn the page. For 381 days, they walked to work and school and church. They walked in rain and cold and in blistering heat. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them until the white city leaders had to agree they could sit anywhere they wanted. Turn the page. In the next 10 years, black Americans all over the South protested for equal rights. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. White ministers told them to stop. Mayors and governors and police chiefs and judges ordered them to stop, but they kept on marching. Turn the page. They were jailed and beaten and murdered, but they kept on marching. Some black Americans wanted to fight back with their fists. Martin convinced them not to by reminding them of the power of love. Turn the page. Many white Southerners hated and feared Martin's words. A few threatened to kill him and his family. His house was bombed. His brother's house was bombed, but he refused to stop. Turn the page. The marches continued. More and more Americans listened to Martin's words. He shared his dreams and filled them with hope. After 10 years of protests, the lawmakers in Washington voted to end segregation. The white-only signs in the South came down. Turn the page. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. cared about all Americans. He cared about people all over the world. And, and people all over the world admired him. In 1964, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it because he taught others to fight with words, not fists. Turn the page. Martin went wherever people needed help. In April 1968, He went to Memphis, Tennessee. He went to help He went to help garbage collectors who were on strike. He walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. On the second day there, he was shot. He died. Turn the page. His big words are alive for all of us today. And that's the conclusion of Martin's big words. I want you to read along, and I want you to pick up this book whenever you feel like you might need some inspiration. And I also want you to know that this is educational. This is our history. So take it upon yourself when you're able to ask questions. Ask your teachers, your mother, granny, your father, anything that it is you want to know. And remember that there's no such thing as a stupid question, and that all great leaders are readers. I love you.